Jink, 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 jink. Is the mic going? Is the mic going? The mic is going now. Bump. Hey guys, Sash from Master Warrior Props, and today we're going to be building Paladin Leeroy's helmet from Dark Souls 1. And on a technicality, and I had this argument with someone the other day, it's also a perfect reskin in Dark Souls 2 disguised as the Royal Swords, not Royal, the Royal Soldier. There's a difference. That is Royal Swordsman. The one I'm referencing is the Royal Soldier. There is no concrete lore evidence between why they are so similar, but you know, how it goes. Anywho, for this build, you can go ahead and head on over to my website. It's ashwarriorprops.com. Under the free templates section, there's a link in the description, bio, whatever Ryan decides to do. I just work here. After that, what you're gonna wanna do is toss me $5 because templates are free, but here's a list of things that aren't. I'm just kidding. You don't have to toss me $5. I'd appreciate it, but you don't have to. This is going to be a two-part video. There's going to be this part 1, which is going to show you how to build this thing. And then there's going to be part 2, which we're going to paint it. This is an older version of the build. I've changed my paint methods since then. But I was really happy with this kind of worn, realistic gold look that I got. And I've had a lot of people ask me about it, so this is going to be a two-part video. Once you've got your template and stuff downloaded, just as a refresher, the template is in poster mode format. Once again, I do this just to make it easier. I know some people don't like it and they prefer it to be page format, but poster format is the easiest and kind of just blanket generic way that I'm going to do them for a while until I think something different. Now, one other housekeeping thing before we get into the build. This build is kind of daunting for some people because there are all of these nice engraved details. There are several ways to do this. This particular one that you're looking at right now was laser engraved, but I actually go over handmade methods. I tested 7 different methods because again, I've had to start where I had no tools before. I understand how frustrating it is to not have access to some of the tools, but don't let that scare you away from this build. Like I said, for this particular one that you're looking at here, this one was laser engraved, but this one was done by hand. So, and again, they're comparable. There's a slight distinction between the two, but we'll get into that. For this build, everybody, you are going to want a roll of 4, 6, and 2. This build can be either 4mm or 6mm. The way this goes together, it's not really going to affect anything, really. So you can kind of pick and choose if you want to do 4 or 6. I did 6 mostly for this one and then just beveled the edges to make it look thinner like real metal. And the reason I did that is mostly just because I had 6 on hand. If I had had more rolls of 4, I would have done it out of 4. I will say doing the faceplate out of 6 is probably a smarter idea. Once you've got your template printed off, go ahead and tape it together. If you're confused about how to work off of my paper templates, check out the video. Once you've got all of the paper templates cut out and traced, let's get into cutting. Now, once again, most of this build is going to be 6mm HD foam, which you can see in this clip here. Those of you who want to adjust it, you know, do so however you want, but again, a large part of this is going to be 6. We're going to start out with the most complex part and get that out of the way first. We're going to go over the faceplate, which is the blah, and the top part that is blah. We're going to go over those first. So for the method I'm going to show you, what we're going to do is take some 2mm HD foam and cut out all of the details. Now you will see here in some of the clips that there are some of the details still stuck in there. That is, don't worry about it. That was a miscut on my part. So the easiest way to do this is just take a skinny X-Acto knife and cut away all of the details that are provided on the template. Then mark out where the outlying shapes go like so. And then what I like to do is take that 2mm sheet that has all those faceplate details and whatever cut out of it. I like to glue that onto a piece of 4mm HD foam. Common math tells us that this is now 6. So you've now got a 6mm HD foam piece, and what I like to do at this point is to then go and cut everything else out. This leaves you with kind of that effect as if it was stamped in or it's just a lowered in piece. Once you've got all of your faceplate pieces glued onto some 4mm HD foam, we're then going to start cutting out the faceplate parts. Now, there's not a whole lot that is special to the faceplate parts here. It's mostly just the front ends are cut at a 45-degree undercut on both sides. This gives it that nice sharp peak. And same with the forehead piece up here. Once that's cut out, we're gonna do a 45-degree on both sides, glue it together, and you get this nice peak. Finally, on the faceplate details, we're gonna add this 2mm piece right here that just goes on top of the forehead, like big detail, pokey stabby thing. And then we have the faceplate. I know I kind of sped through that. It is not all that hard if you're excluding all the details. Doing the details is kind of what's going to add your time to this. Otherwise, the base shape is pretty simple. Once again, the details can be done a handful of ways. Again, for the sake of my sanity and having to do several of these at once, I did have the laser do that. You can also use a wood burner. You can also use a Dremel engraver. Again, I've done all of those methods and they work, but I think this 2 stacked on 4 is probably my favorite method. Once you've got the angles cut on the lower part of the faceplate, we're then going to go ahead and glue the faceplate together in this stepped fashion. The best way to do this is just kind of account for 4 or 6 millimeters on the lip of each stair, and that's where you're going to glue this the corresponding piece. Should look something like this when it's put together. Copy, paste, mirror for the other side. And then we're going to glue the 2 halves together. Once the bottom part of the faceplate has the 2 halves glued together, we're then going to replicate that same process to the forehead piece. Once the forehead and lower faceplate are put together, you can then glue them together right like this, matching the ends up like so. And that is the most iconic part of this build. I'm spinning. So if you just like the faceplate and you want to add it to something else, you can absolutely do it at this point. But to make it actually Paladin Leeroy's / the Royal Soldier, we do have to do the rest of the build. The rest of the build, once again, is super easy. We're gonna move on to the first half of the dome, the front half. The front half of the dome, we can copy paste whatever method you did to do the faceplate details and copy that to the pieces 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 on the front half of the dome. Once you figured out what you want to do with that, we can then glue it together. The gluing order, it doesn't really matter on this one. The only special thing about it is there is an undercut on one side of part 1. So that way you get kind of a little... Once you've got that together, you've got the base of the dome done. And now for a mid-roll ad. You may ask yourself, Ashen, where did you get that beautiful shirt? And you may tell yourself at www.bonfire.com/AshenWarriorProps. I think that's the link, I don't know.
He was so wrong, it's not even funny. If you want to get any of these excellent shirts, you're going to go to www.bonfire.com/store/ashen-warrior-props. Or you can just click the link in the description.
The t-shirt sales help go directly to support my wife as an artist and the page itself. While I've got your attention, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. I know that sounds like for every like and subscribe, it's 2 seconds I'll spend into researching speech. Like and subscribe and share it with a friend if you'd want. This is the best way to help support the page because we are all at the mercy of that unforgiving algorithm right now. So if you do like what I do and you want to support in any way, the best way to do that for free is to drop a like, comment, and subscribe. Once you've got the top half of the forehead done, we're going to go straight into the back half. The back half is pretty much the same. Follow the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Once you've got the pieces laid out, you can go ahead and glue them again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then you're done with both the front and back half base builds. There is this, the dome form in the template. It is this piece right here. This is gonna get glued directly onto the inside of the front half of the dome, like so. Once you've got that form in there, we're then gonna add these nice ridge details going down and forth. Those are simply 2mm HD foam strips that I cut out and then tacked down with Bob Smith super glue, like so. Do that to both the front and back half of the dome, and then you're good to go. Now we can attach the back half to the front half of the dome using that form piece. Phew, golly, once you've got both halves of the dome, we're gonna go into the base shape. That is this back piece right here and these cheeks. So the main back pieces are these 2 pieces right here. On my template, they are cut in half. On your template, they should be one solid piece. Now, the one thing to remember is the lower part of the back is going to be cut at an outward 45-degree angle where it meets the top. This is so you get that really cool flare like so. Once you've got that glued together, we can then add this 4mm trim piece along the seam right here. And then we have this lower trim piece, and this lower trim piece along the inner curve is going to be cut at an outward 45-degree angle. This is once again going to help us achieve that really cool like flare out look that you see in the game. Once you've got that done, we're then gonna go over to the cheeks. The cheeks have a similar method. They are just one piece, and then we're gonna add that bottom flare. That bottom flare, once again, has an outward 45-degree angle and attaches to the bottom like so. Once you've got the back base and the cheeks done, we're then going to glue the two together. Now to emulate, so for this build, it actually fits really well without having to create a hinge system. Now, mind you, this may look a little big because it's tall and I haven't padded this, but I'm gonna bonk you off the cliff. So for this, you don't really need to make an intricate hinge system unless you absolutely want to. Which again, it wouldn't be all that hard. You could just follow the similar hinge methods I did on the Elite Knight, just kind of apply that here. But in order to emulate that kind of hinge seam look, we're gonna make an intentional seam by taking the cheeks and giving them a stair step up 3 millimeters on the sides of the back base. So what I mean is similar to what we did with the Solitude Helm, we are going to stair step it. So the piece should bifurcate the back plate exactly 3 millimeters or 2 millimeters in if you're using 4. Once that's done, we can attach the faceplate. The faceplate is relatively easy to attach. It is more difficult to attach if you keep messing with it. The reason it's not marked on the base of the template where it needs to go is, again, some people have longer faces, and it's not a PEP template, so you know I don't have it to where you can scale it like that. So again, it can go all the way back or go up slightly depending on if your face is longer or not. Once you've got the main faceplate attached like so, then you're good to give it a test run or a test fit, whatever. Test run fit. We're then going to add this little hinge piece right here. The hinge piece is most easily made by taking a piece of 4mm HD foam or 2, again, pick your methods. I took a wooden dowel and took 3 little pieces of 2mm HD foam and wrapped it around it to kind of simulate like a hinge almost. Just, you know, look at a hinge, see how they work. And then I added the rivets to make it look like it was riveted on the side of the helmet. And again, it's good with fantasy stuff like this to accent the thickness. It's kind of play into that fantasy. This is supposed to be a strong character. So it's okay if it's not paper thin right there. That's totally okay for something like this. Because again, we want to make that blend between sticking to the source material and hyper-realism. And I think that's kind of like the best way to pay homage to that, is give it that sense of weight. Once you've got the hinges on the side like so, the hinge should sit in the middle of the seam that we made earlier. We're then going to add rivets. Now for this, I like to use furniture tacks, and that's just because they're cheap, easy, and they're already rounded, so you don't have to add much extra stuff to it. There are the rivets all the way on this back trim, and then there are 3 on the forehead part of the faceplate. Finally, there are, on the in-game model, there's these little divots that go around, like, and they're not like dense or anything, they literally look like pinholes. So I added those with a wood burner in these locations here. And then finally, we're gonna add damage. Now, because this one, I'm making a replica of Paladin Leeroy, I am mimicking the damage that is on the Paladin Leeroy named helmet in the first game. If you are doing your own character that is wearing this armor, or you're doing a royal soldier, or yeah, whatever, make the damage your own. Again, I work in the realm of replicating, so that's what I'm doing for my personal one, is this is going to be a replica of Paladin Leeroy's. And that should be good. We've got the build. Here's some of the things we did with, look, ooh, ah. Now it's outro time. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed. Once again, if you want to help support the page and you want some cool, awesome stuff, my wife made these awesome shirts. www.bonfire.com/warriorprops. There's also a link in the description. I'm also just now realizing the irony of having a Dark Souls inspired shirt on a place called Bonfire. I have a lot of cool FromSoft builds planned in the future. Again, that is my favorite thing. Got a lot of stuff planned. What I want to start doing at the ends of these videos is highlighting comments that you guys have left on previous videos, just so that way I can, publicize, share everybody's thoughts and feelings. So if there's something you want to say or potentially be seen next video at the end, drop a comment. Let me know what you want to see built. As always, you can check out my Instagram. That's where I'm most active. There is a Facebook. There is a YouTube channel membership as well, but again, we don't really do much with that at the moment. That's just kind of there for support if you want. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Again, I know I'm harking on it, and I really don't want to be annoying with that, but you know, it's I got to pay the bills somehow. Yeah, it's time for thumbnail pose. Everybody's favorite segment, thumbnail pose. You do like the '80s, like buddy cop. Shit. This guy. I like that one. I like the eyebrow. It's twitching. I don't think you can see it.